Hello everyone, welcome back again. My name is Jesse, and in this wonderful tutorial we're trying to see how to build an API with FastAPI. So let's see how to work with it. So in the previous session we learned about how to use Flask to build an API, how to use base Flask as well as Flask RESTful to build an API. Now let's see how to work with another alternative called FastAPI. So to install, we're just going to go with pip install FastAPI in case you don't have it. Then you require UVCon to be able to save or run your app. So that is how to work and install FastAPI. Perfect. So now let's start with this. I'm just going to go to my FastAPI folder. It's going to be FastAPI API. Perfect. So I'm going to create our first file called app.py. Perfect. Now let's see how to work with it. So I'm just going to come back to my folder here. There's the previous tutorial, so I'll close everything. Then I'll come back here. Right. So let's build our simple app. So in building a simple API with FastAPI is very, very simple. If you know Flask, it's quite easy. It's going to be from FastAPI import FastAPI. This must be capital, right? That's a basic idea. Perfect. Then the next thing we need is that we need to be able to import UVCon. So import UVCon. Then we're going to initialize our app. Going to be our app, is going to be our FastAPI. You can put debug here in case you want to get information. So debug is equal to true, or you can omit it. Then you're going to close it. So if main, then this is going to go with UVCon.run, then app referring to this particular app we have initialized here. Then going to supply the host. It's going to be 127.0.0.1. Then the port, you're going to give your own port, right? The port you are using is port 8000. Very simple and very basic. Perfect. So that is the basic idea. Now everything we're doing will be going in between here. So let's first of all work on our app. So I'm just going to create something very basic to help us with that, which is in case you want to add a template to it, you can just do that. But let's go straight away and build an API. So I'm just going to open my data, or use the data we'll be using. We're using our famous books data. We're going with open as our books.json as f. Then we're using JSON to read it. So let's go to as books. Then it's going to go with our JSON.load f. Right, so we have to import JSON to help us to read it. So import JSON. Very simple, right? That is it. We have been able to get our data, and it has been stored inside books. Now let's build our first route. So in building our first route, to get it, very simple. There are several ways of doing it, but we'll go with the simplest method. So the first one is that we're going to define our first route. It's going to be our app.get, right? Then I'm going to give my API endpoint, which is going to be /API / my version 1 / let's use one as version 2, and then we're just going to go with books. So I go with books. Now I'm returning books, right? Then I'm going to define a function with asynchronous. You can just go with async def, then get books. We are getting all the books. Then I'm going to return our books. So let's go with this, return our books. So we're going to go with our books as books. Perfect. So that is how to build a simple API with FastAPI, right? Very, very simple. So let's see what you have done so far. So I'm going to run it here. We have it here. To run this, the simplest way is just go with UVCon, then app. So this app is referring to the name of this app here, and then app, which is referring to this particular app here, right? Perfect. So the file is called app. So this is how it is. This file is the app here, right? And then this is the file on top of it, this particular app that you are running. So in case this was called main, here will be named as main, right? Perfect. Now let's move it that as reload. It's going to reload it, and you're going to see that work. So it's reloading, running it on this particular port. So I'll copy this particular port. So it's not finding the boost JSON, so let's add it there. So I'll copy the boost JSON from my Flask, is this, into my FastAPI, right? So that you can see it. Now it's going to detect it, and then we can see everything working. So if I save it now, let's go up, save it, fresh. So now it is going to be 8.8000. So detail not found, right? The reason it does not found is that our version is version 2. So it's going to be version 2. So if I go to version 2, voila. So we have our details there. Everything is working as expected. Very, very interesting, right? Very, very interesting. So that is how to work with FastAPI. So FastAPI gives you the option of doing some interesting stuff. So if I come here and I change the URL to docs, I can also see the documentation for us. So let me expand it here, which is very, very interesting, with some Swagger API, Swagger design, right, which is open API. So I can just go with my get, and then I can try it out from here. So try it out, can execute, then it's going to load it and then return all the data set for us, right? Very, very interesting. Inside the request response body, very interesting and very interesting, with some information about it. Very nice. That is all in one. I can also go to Redoc, then get more information in a different UI using Redoc, right, which is going to be the documentation about this particular stuff, which is quite interesting, how to use it, and then some very basic information, all out of this simple code we have written. It's very simple. Now let's see how to add another option of being able to fetch the data, right? So to fetch the data is going to be very simple. It's going to be the same thing. So let me copy this that we have here. It's about fetching one single book. Then here I'm just going to do the same thing that we did previously. I'm going to pass in backslash, then I'm going to define the title, right? So I'll be passing the title here. Then here is going to be get a single book, right? Perfect. So let's create a simple if condition to help us do that. So let's go to as a book. It's going to be, so book for book in books, if book, just as we have been doing for book in book, if book title is equal to my title, return that book, right? Very interesting. So something very simple, and I'm going to return this particular stuff here. So that is all that you need, right? You have done something very simple and something very basic. And I have to change this one from book to books. If I save it now and I'm going to detect the changes, reload and detect the changes, then if I come back here to the Redoc, it's going to add that particular documentation for us. So we have our get books, we also have our get book, right? So we have two different documentation. We have our get books here, we have our get book single book, right, with something interesting. Then I can come back to my docs, and with the docs here I can see the same thing, right? There's a Swagger. I have my first route to get all the books, try it out, execute, I get all the books here. Very interesting. Then I can also search for a book. So let's pick a book from here. Let's use the Divine Comedy, right? I'll copy this one here, then I'll come back to, just close it here, right? So we had my first one, can just come back to the next one, which is for fetching the individual book, which is this. So click on it, can try it out, then I can paste it here. If I paste it here, execute, it's going to analyze, then fetch the book for us. Very, very interesting. So with FastAPI, you get two out of the box, right? Something very simple, something very basic. The same thing I did, I can also copy the same thing I did, then paste it here. It's also going to return it inside this particular option, right? I can also use the same thing inside my Postman, which is, in this case, is going to be a different route, right? And I'll click on send. It's going to work and then give us the same result, right? So FastAPI give us some very cool stuff to do, right? Very, very interesting. So that is the basic idea behind working with FastAPI, how to build an API with FastAPI, right? So thank you for watching. So the most basic idea is that you just import FastAPI and UVCon, then JSON to load your data. You build your first route to show everything, your second route. So in case you want to add data to it, right, you can just go to the same thing with post. So we're going to change this one from here to, let's say, post. That is how to do that. That is something very basic about this. So thank you for watching, and then see you in the next session. Stay blessed.